Hello everyone, this is P.Radford with 50 Years of Chess. I have another opponent for you, Ed Varley, who I have one game against already on here. This was the last, I think, time that we played out of the 4 games we played. And so I'm going to show you that game now. Just a bit of information. Ed arrived in Bristol playing chess around about 2006. And he left about 2012. He came down from Midlands, Birmingham way, I think. That's where he returned to play chess. His best ever rating was about, let's see, he did quite well. He got to about as high as 1893. And at the time we played, Ed was 33. And I was 57. He was born in 1977. So let's look at the game. Ed's rating in this match was 1720. And I was playing white, and the game went as follows: d4, knight f6. Knight c3, e6, bishop g5, h6 and bishop h4. Ed then pinned my knight with bishop b4, and I played a3. I could have gone queen d3 so that I could retake the knight should he take, but I like picking up knights, bishops early in the game for a knight. I don't know why, I'm just weird like that. I like to get these long range pieces off the board and worry about the knights at another time. So he took on c3, b takes c3, d6, e4. Now there is a way in which he could take that pawn by playing g5, bishop g3, and then knight takes pawn. But if you look, his pawns are very exposed, and after I go g3 and he goes knight takes pawn, I think it's risky after bishop d3 because he's going to be very weak on his king side. A lot of white squares to be attacked. I don't think it's worth the pawn, but some people would have played it, no doubt. That's what you call chancers. So let's continue. Knight d7 from Ed, from b8, bishop d3, b6, f4. So I'm getting a control on the middle as much as I can here and try and win this game by squeezing him. So he went bishop b7, queen e2, e5. Bit unusual. Didn't expect that yet until after he castled, but fair enough. So I took the pawn, he retook, and then I played knight f3. So he's now gone queen e7. So that means he could castle queenside or kingside, same as myself. But of course I'm not going to castle queenside. I'm going to castle kingside. So he's now castled queenside. And I've got a ready-made attack here with that a6 square all mine at the moment. Now I've got to work out what I'm going to do here. So I've gone back with the bishop, first of all, to g3. He's gone pawn takes pawn, and I push with e5. So it's going to play his knight out to h5. Now, I could go bishop back to f2, but then he can play pawn takes pawn, and he's getting a pawn for nothing, and also opening up for knight c5 with a rook coming down that diagonal, a rook coming down that file. So I decided to take the pawn and secure the middle and let him take the bishop, which I did. And now he's played rook e8 from d8, a4, f6. So he's putting pressure on my centre. And so I played bishop d6, attacking the rook, and that will weaken black's attack against that pawn when he can place the rook back to d8. Now push the pawn on. I played e6, knight f8. I decided I would play knight in here to h4. Obviously I get a nice fork if he takes, but he could take the pawn. But if he does do that, I can immediately pin the knight with bishop f5. He's then forced to have to protect with rook d6, and it's getting a bit difficult for him. As I put another rook behind my queen. No, I don't think he should take that pawn. No, that would be a bad move. So he played king to b8, which is probably a good move. And I played rook f to e1. Now he's brought his bishop to d5, so he wants to try and win that pawn. He's got 3 pieces attacking to my 1. Could defend it with bishop f5, but I'm going to carry on my attack. a5. I want to bust him open there if I can. I've got open file on the b file if that pawn was to take. So he's taking a pawn, and I've gone queen d3, attacking his queen with my rook. And he's gone queen to c6, which is probably the best move. Pawn takes pawn. H takes pawn on b6. Brought the bishop to f5, so that I'm possibly about to play the knight in there if he moves his knight where the bishop was on g6. So he's gone knight to d7. Now I've played rook from e to c1 so I can get this pawn rolling on c4, but he's jumped in there with his queen to prevent me doing that. So we swapped, and then I brought the bishop into e4, so he can't now have the power of that diagonal with his bishop. He's played king to f8. I've got a rook check, but the knight back to b8 seems to hold, except I could play bishop to f4. That's a real problem for him. No, he could then go king to b7 and attacking the rook, so no, it's not good. Knight to f5, knight to b8. So, what do I do now? Knight takes pawn on g7. Takes pawn on, rook takes pawn on d4. Hit my bishop. So I protected it with rook e1. He's attacking my knight with rook g7, and I drop the knight back to f5. Nice place to go, because not only am I moving away from the attack on the knight, but I'm also attacking his rook. And then Ed played rook g5. What a shame. He's blundered, and it's cost him a rook now. And after knight takes rook, he resigned. He wasn't doing too bad at all. I mean, it was a pawn up. I had a double pawn, but I did have control of a lot of squares. Yeah, that's a shame. Who knows how it would have ended, but there you go. That's the way it goes sometimes. You know, you're attacking a piece, the piece moves, and it seems to be like a natural move to just move away from the attack. And if you're not watching where that piece has gone and what it might be attacking, you can easily lose the thread of that and attack again, and then realise, oh, he was attacking my rook. Why didn't I see that? I think he played a bit quick. Sometimes he played very fast moves. But that's the way it goes. I've done it myself. I've given away games where I've blundered pieces, so It's swings and roundabouts, isn't it? So, thank you for watching. This was the last game that I played with Ed. On the other games, one was a draw, and he managed to win one. So it was 2.5, 1.5 in our 4 encounters. And here's a picture of Ed Varley, my opponent. This was the same year, I think, that we played in 2010. He was playing in the Congress here. Like I said, he's a young man, about 33. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye.